Home day today?
Um, it is because our internet is out at the office. We've been working at home since Tuesday and it's been a total nightmare.
Oh
So,
no. Yeah, no internet's bad.
yeah. And Joe and I both spent hours on the phone with Spectrum trying to get them to send a tech out on Tuesday or on Monday. The earliest they were able to get somebody out was Saturday at 11 a.m. And we were like, that's not going to work. And so we've pretty much every day called to ask them to escalate it and to no avail. So yay.
That sounds super not fun.
Especially leading up to being gone next week in San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
it puts you behind a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Because working on the virtual desktop works, but it takes me about twice as long to do everything because it's kind of slow and clunky. So it's been a lot of fun.
You meant that sarcastically.
Very.
Oops, my screen of videos went away. All right, I'm trying to organize my stuff over here. All right, so hit the recording, huh?
It's already recording. Just people are trying to get in.
Oh, okay, let the people in. All right.
Go.
So we do have some, like Steve's here. Hi, Steve. We have some folks who are not as experienced as others, so I may cover some basics today. So there's been quite a few updates to the software as of, the same as last time. A lot of it is like back end efficiency stuff, some tracking things, nothing. It's not the top 20% items that people ask about. So one of the things I wanted to cover today is the marketing tab here and newsletters, which I did a brief one on last month, sorry. And then also sites for landing pages. So one of the things that I think is very valuable and versatile with this platform is the ability to create a landing page. So let's say you're going to do an event. If you're an estate planning attorney, you're going to do a live event, or if you're going to do a webinar or whatever, you can set up funnels under the site section here. So I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to talk about newsletters next. So this is our test account. And these are all just, bogus funnels basically. But I'm going to do a new one and show you from the beginning. And why would you do this? Better question. You would do this if you were paying money, most likely, for people to sign up or see something that would otherwise be untrackable. And so this gives you the ability, particularly with this system, to have all of the data. If they came from Google or Facebook or an email or whatever and signed up and went through a funnel of yours, we could track that in here. Secondarily, the forms and the automations we can build into those landing pages for your funnel and give you additional analytics, additional data collection. So let's go through a basic thing right now. So we'll call this might even done one of these. Yeah, there's a test down there. We're going to call this Cogent test. Test July. I'm going to create this. And so I'm not using templates. We do have templates, but I'm not going to use a template. Templates are just basically a bunch of pages already pre-built. They're very generic. In fact, let me just show you that real quick since we did the test already. Cogent test. New funnel, go to library. You'll see here, if you go to the library, there's a bunch of things you can look at that are pre-built. I don't like them necessarily for what I prefer to do myself, but it gives you a good starting point, with all the pages and stuff, so you can modify those. But let's go from the scratch here. I'm going to edit this one. So a funnel is essentially a web page with a series of steps in that page, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to add a step. All right, I'm going to call this home. Oops, so I don't typo it. I am a hunt and peck typer. So if you have ClickFunnels or know someone who does, we can import ClickFunnels stuff as well. So I created a page called home. I can add another step called thank you. By the way, after I go through this tutorial stuff, then we can do Q&A as well. So here's home. So let's edit home. We're going to edit the page. And it's a blank canvas at this point, but it's very easy to use. So I typically do medium on the width and stuff. I'm going to add a row. Unless this one, I'm going to do one column. And then I'm going to add an image. There's my image. Here we go. And then we'll go down here, find the image we want to add. I have a picture of Allie kicking in the air. So there's an image that could be my header. I can change this, go to settings. And I can say, oh, I only want that thing to be 100 pixels tall. Well, now it's tiny, right? And I want to make it 800 wide. Oh, that looks weird. So I'm going to change it to 400, whatever. So you can modify these things. Now I'm going to add another section here. I'm at a headline. This is the landing page, right? And then I'm at another section. I'm going to put a paragraph, which we'll just leave that as the generic lorem ipsum stuff. And then I'm going to add a form. You can, so when you add a form, you can pick the forms you've already created in the system, which I'll show you in a second here. So let's do a signature contract form. So they sign and fill this out. And then I'm going to add the bottom here. I want to add, we can do the calendar, which is like appointment setting stuff. I really want to add a footer, but we don't have a footer. So I'm going to add a bullet list. All right. So you can basically build this in a couple of seconds. I'm going to save that. What happens is you can set priority in terms of the pages. So when somebody comes to that page, when they fill a form out, they can automatically go to the thank you page. Once this loads, it's always worse when I'm sharing my screen. By the way, it's super humid and rainy here, so my hair is crazy curly. It's driving me nuts. I don't know what's going on? It's my afro.
My favorite.
Yeah, she likes the curly hair. I don't like it. Edit this. So this is my thank you page. So someone comes to your landing page, they fill out an event form or something like that. When they fill that out, it sends them to the thank you page. The thank you page could then also have a call to action that leads to yet a third page. So you could have this domino effect of you go here, then here, then here, then here. What's the value in that? Especially if you're doing advertising, this allows you to put people, think of it as a filter. So like you're sifting for gold. So you can get more restrictive as you move through the path and get more information and or discount people, like kick them out, like you're not qualified kind of thing. So add a row here. This time I'm going to add 3 columns just because I want to demo that. So we're going to add an image. This, I don't have a lot of good example images because here we go. Razumich, put Razumich in there. Used him for a demo for some reason. Here we go. The workout dude, just his face. This one, another image. So again, this is all just for demo purposes only. All right, so this is a terrible landing page, but then here I'm going to do a 1 column, and then I'm going to, in this column, I'm going to put a headline. I could say here for more. And then if I don't like where it's positioned, I can hit these arrows and move it up, right? I can just drag it up there. Here, go up above this guy, on this guy. This guy. So what's the point of this? The point is to show you that you can build out these pages and these funnel steps. Let me save this real quick, even though it's terrible. This guy's scary, actually. Back here. the point of this is to show you that you could have someone, you could run an ad or whether it's direct mail, whatever, you could have a URL that redirects to these pages, have them go through a funnel process, see what's happening within the system. Did they fill it out or not fill it out? Did they just visit, etc.? This works extremely well when you have people in the database already who you email these landing pages to, because we can see, we can then see if they clicked it, they viewed it, they filled the form out. It gives you a whole history of what they've done. That information actually shows up in the contact itself under the activity screen right here. So let me give you a better example, perhaps, if I can find one. So we can track this stuff to Facebook. Here we go. Let's go here. So it'll say right here, there's a contact created through paid social ad. Here's your advertisement. If they went to a landing page, filled out a form, it would show all that information. So we could literally run an ad, see which ad it was, send them to a funnel page inside the system, see that they filled that out, see if they set an appointment, see if they hired, et cetera, et cetera. So it just gives you greater visibility into the things you're spending money on and the result. So funnels, super easy, but also a little bit complicated if you're not a tech. And again, I'd like to reiterate here that we help you set those things up if you want to do some sort of funnel. We've done that a lot with estate planning, where they do live events where they register, show up in the system. This system will send reminders of what the date is, when they need to be there, what the address is, that kind of stuff. So it'll automate all that stuff via the marketing and automation section here. So you can do reminders and confirmation campaigns and stuff like that. So now I want to talk about the newsletter thing, because this is another thing that people like. So if you go to email campaigns, under marketing, emails, and then campaigns, you can see I have a draft template here. Similar to the landing pages, I like to create kind of a basic one and then clone it and reuse it over and over. So this one here is Allie kicking again. So we can go and change that if we want to. What?
Why do we keep using this?
Because that's the only image I have. I have this. Hold on a second. She doesn't like that. We can use the fitness chick over here if we want. Here, how about this? More generic one. All right, somebody working on the computer. So you, for a law firm, you'd probably put your firm logo in this spot instead of, you know, some generic stock photo. Here you've got your header, which could be this week's news. All right. Oops, if I can type. And then right below that, we'll add another one. We'll do text. And then this one, we're gonna just put in in case you didn't know, lorem ipsum is just like generic filler. Generate, copy. So we'd put our, whatever we're going to say, we'd put right in here, right? So you see that this week's news, blah, 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 blah. If there was a photo associated with this, we would go over here to the image section and probably put an image either in the middle or below, right? There's another image. Where's my replace? I don't want to put the scary guy. He was scaring me too much. Put this person here. So you can basically build this out, and then for your newsletter, once it's done, you hit send and schedule, right? You pick either all contacts, which is what I typically do. You can pick a smart list, which I'll talk about in a second. And then who's it from? Robert at Cogent Marketing. And then name. Put a subject in, monthly newsletter. Keep capitalizing stuff I shouldn't. Preview text, I don't typically do, but if I do it, I just copy some of that text from that main body of the letter. And then you hit send, or if I'm going to schedule it, hit schedule. It's going to go out tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit schedule. And then it's going to go out. I'm not going to do that because we have some all fake emails in here. We never go. So that's how you do a newsletter. That's how you do a funnel. We talked about this before also, templates. So, well, hold on one second. Let me go back to the campaigns and emails. So I said that I would show you something here. What did I say I'd show you? I forget now. What'd you say? Oh, the list. Yeah, that's right. So sender schedule. So when you send to smart list. All right. So let me show you smart list real quick. Thank you for your help. So contacts. So you have all these people. You have these blue things are tags. So if I go in here and I look for Robert Stanley, which is a bogus tag, but here's all the Robert Stanley tags. So I click all of those, right? Actually, let me go to tag, select tag. So essentially what you can do is you can do a smart filter based on any criteria, phone number, area code, zip code, name, whatever. So I filter that out through here. And then I can do save as smart list. I'll save this list as Robert Stanley. Boom. So if I go back into marketing, I go to emails. And I edit this one. I hit send and schedule. I can say smart list, and then I can pick Robert Stanley, right? So the most common thing we do though is we'll tag people as newsletter because they're on our newsletter. If we remove them from the newsletter, we can untag them in the system and just take them out of the newsletter process. But this allows me to pick any subset of contacts in the database and send them information either scheduled or unscheduled. So when you build these funnels, though, you're typically going to want to have some sort of form. So under the sites, you have forms and surveys. What's the difference? Forms are a single page of data they submit. A survey is a multi-step page. So it's multiple questions, like, page one would be like name, email, page two would be address, page three would be what's your problem, etc. Forms are just one long form, okay? But either way, you get really good data out of it. In fact, let's go to Benson here. I'll just show you some data on the forms. What's that? Form analyze. Well, he doesn't have forms. Who has forms? I hit the wrong. Oh, no, he does. It's not showing us submissions. Not showing us. Wrong one then. Let's go to Alabama. So when you build out forms and you put them on your website, you'll actually see, here we go. That's a better example. So you can see 103 submissions to the calendar. You can see which form it was, what the volume and frequency is. You can actually look at the submissions as well. And so this stuff can all be integrated with your funnels and or your website. One of the things I love about these forms is it also tracks the source. So where'd they come from? Was it Google or Facebook, or they just came directly to the website? These guys do a lot of purchase leads. So here's a referral, direct, referral. Anyway, you can see all these different criteria. And then I can also click on the person who submitted the form and see on the activity, like I said before, phone consult and what page they visited, etc. So So on the site side, the funnel. So if you have some special event or a one-time thing you're doing, so maybe you have a book offer landing page, not a bad idea to create it in the sites under funnels, put that funnel on your website, which we can help you with. So it might, maybe it's like mywebsite.com/book offer, but the page is actually built in this system. When they fill it out, we'll have a whole bunch of data about who they are, where they came from, did they sign or not sign, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the two things I wanted to cover today. So now I'm going to open it up to questions because that's all I had for the moment. So Trisha, help me. I know you're eating. Stop eating.
I'm just checking. Here's the thing, Rob. I'm working from home and I wasn't expecting to be working from home. So my Post-it that has questions on it
Is at work?
desk at work. Yep. And I realized that this morning and I didn't have time today to go into the office and get it. So sorry. I know there are questions. I just can't think of what they are off the top of my head. That's why I write them down.
That's fair. Does anybody else?
I do what Blaine taught me, and I mind dump whenever I have something like that, so I don't have to think about it again.
Yeah, that's good because then you can sleep at night, right?
Exactly. Well, you'd think.
You'd think.
You'd hope.
Yeah. So something that's also a very common question for folks that are new here, like Steve. The opportunity screen, dashboard, et cetera. So the dashboard's actually fed from every one of these other items you see. So this is not something you typically interact with. It's just pulling data from all the other areas. The opportunity screen is what feeds the numbers here, right? So when you look at numbers and you go to opportunities, you're going to see all these contacts. If it loads here. Come on, baby. Oh, we're not pricing. We're going to go into leads. There we go. So now you see all your new leads, where they came from. These guys buy a lot. So they got NOLO leads, website leads, et cetera. So they pull these leads in and then move them through the pipeline. And as those change in this system, it changes the dashboard results. So the number of opportunities, the pipeline value, et cetera. One common question we get is, well, how do I know what happened last week or this week? Well, if you hit the date right up here, you can change the timeline of this data right here. Same thing in the opportunity screen, right? So I can go back to the opportunity screen, hit date and time, boom. So I can pick, I want to see everything in the last 30 days, the last 7 days. The other thing that you need to be aware of is a common mistake is these filters. So they say, I can't see my leads. There's nobody there. And I know there's somebody in there. Well, make sure this stuff is all cleared out. So make this all, you know what I mean? Make it all so that just shows you everything. So if you ever see or don't see what you want to see, then you need to change the filters up here because it's filtering these 3x5 cards. As I've mentioned in the past, these are drag and drop. So you can move people from one stage to another just by dragging them, left click and drag. I can click on the middle of the white card and fill out data related to that person, lead source, lead value. If I click on their actual name, it takes me to their contact record, which shows me all of the conversations in the middle here, tasks, notes, appointments, etc. If I want to, you've got the chat icon and the phone icon. If I click either one of these, if I click chat, it's going to take me to Nina's conversations, and then I can chat with her. If I click the phone icon, it's going to call from my computer directly to her. You probably want to have a headset and microphone to do that. If I want to make a generic call, I can just hit this green phone icon up here, put any phone number I want in, or I can go to contacts and pick somebody I want to call.
A note for those of you who are like teaching your staff how to do this, I learned very quickly, we were using the conversations tab to text back and forth with people and, like recent and searching for an old person. And what I learned was if somebody accidentally types in the wrong name, like types it with a typo, and it doesn't show up, and they create a new conversation with the misspelled name and the same phone number, it creates a duplicate contact. So I have encouraged my staff, please, when you're talking to a specific contact, go through their contact card, if you will, to talk to them. Don't do it from the conversations page.
Yeah,
especially starting a new conversation with a client.
yeah, for sure. So you can click contacts. I can look for Robert Stanley here. There he is. And now I can just write in the conversation tab. I can talk to him. Well, you'll notice though, actually, good point here.
But if you put like Bob Stanley or Rob Stanley,
right,
not going to come up. And if you then create a new chat, then you've got a duplicate contact record.
What you can do if that happens is click on Robert Stanley. There's two Roberts in here. I can scroll up here and I can merge.
Yeah.
And so I'll typically pick the older one, but merge the best data into the two.
I got tired of doing that. And so I told my staff, please don't do that.
But yeah, I mean, ideally, you don't want them just creating multiple duplicates for sure.
Right.
If that does happen, you can merge them together. Just know that.
I think there's a setting, and this is Kylie. I think there's a setting where you can tell it not to allow duplicates as well. And then that
Yeah.
might.
If you go into settings, you're correct. So right here, allow duplicate contacts, yes or no.
Is that based off of the phone number or?
Yeah, it's based on name, email, phone number. So if the name looks different and the phone number looks the same, it's probably still going to allow you to do it.
Gotcha.
But if I put your same name and your same email in, it's not going to do that.
Yeah,
So
or misspellings or nicknames.
I've tried doing duplicates with the phone number because somehow one of our attorneys, I put my attorneys in there for the text and does something every time. But one of them, I tried texting him today and I tried putting his phone number in and kept telling it was a duplicate. I tried putting his name in, it was telling it was a duplicate. I'm like, what in the world is duplicating here? So that was really frustrating for me that I couldn't even try to get a hold of him because the numbers I was using were all duplicates.
yeah. Yeah, if you run into any nuanced problem like that, you can always email me and I can have my dev team look into it, or sometimes I can figure it out myself. Maybe half the time I can figure it out. So these are some good points though. Allow duplicate contact. Typically you don't want that. Merge Facebook contacts. Well, why would you do that? If you're doing any kind of Facebook advertising, or if people are messaging you on Facebook, but they're also a client in the system, they'll try and merge them based on their information. Contact time zone. So if you do business in more than one time zone, which may or may not be in more than one state. So let's say you have an office in California and New York, you don't want to hit, or you do want to hit disable time zone, because what will happen by default is everybody will be in Pacific time in this account. So that means when you program messages to go out at 7 in the morning, and it's going to go out at 7 in the morning Pacific, not 7 in the morning Eastern. Does that make sense? The one I think is important to consider sometimes is allow duplicate opportunities. So if you have multiple funnels, multiple pipelines, we go to pipelines here. I've got 3 of them, right? So if I have multiple pipelines, you might want to have a contact in more than one of those pipelines. And where people use multiple is usually it's the PCLC, which is the sales process. And then maybe there's some sort of paperwork process they're tracking in here. So you may want them to be in both. For the most part, if you're confused and you're not sure what to do, it's best just to reach out and we'll help you.
So Robert, we have a request.
Yes.
Can we go over how to assign a task?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. So I can go to tasks. I don't know if I have multiple people in this account or not. It might work for I do. Okay. So if I go to contacts and I go to Robert here and I do a task, I can add a task and I can assign it to somebody. So it could be as long as inside your account, there's more than one user, you can assign it to someone. So I'm going to assign it to Cogent test, and I'm going to say, do this thing. Right. And then save. What's going to happen is for that individual user, when they log into the dashboard, they're going to see it right here. I'm an administrator, so I see everyone's tasks, but I could go here and filter based on who it is and see just theirs. I changed Robert Stanley. See, there's no tasks. You could also assign manual actions, which is to say that I could have a automation. Let's go to this appointment reminder one just for fun. I could go down here and I could say manual call, save. And so it's, I think no, we don't. Cancel. Then I could say, I'm going to assign this to assign to user Cogent test. So what's going to happen is they set an appointment. I have all these automated things that are happening. And then I'm going to assign it to Robert Stanley, and then he has to make a manual call. Save that. What happens when you do this is that in the contacts, you have bulk actions. There'll be a list of things right here that you're supposed to do. Do we have an account where we have some of those, Allie? Trying to think.
I think Bama.
Bama has those. Okay, let's see. Yeah, right here. So they use manual actions, which means they assign it to a person and they're supposed to do something with that. If I go to, let's look who's here. This person. You won't see it in this screen because I'm an admin, but if I'm logged in as this individual, there's a little button up here that says get started. And what it will do is it'll automatically move through each one, and you'll call and it'll show the next one, you'll call. So it's like a dial for dollars type of thing, where that integrates really well with the reporting side, where we can go in here and look at call reporting and see who's making calls and how many calls are making a day. We can also do agent reporting to see how many calls a certain person made. So let's go to Tia here. And Kylie, if you don't like me sharing this, let me know, because I know you're on the call. But so you can see what this individual is doing, right? And then if their job is to set appointments, you can look at the appointment report and see who did what, how many appointments they set. So not super useful for everybody. But for those who have like individuals in their organization who are making outbound phone calls, outbound text messages, their job to set appointments, it gives you good stats in terms of how they're doing. And I don't know, Kylie, maybe you want to pipe in here and let me know if you guys use this or how you're using it so far.
On the task?
No, on the manual
Or-
calls and things like that. Yes.
Yeah, so our outbound phone person that does around 150 calls a day, she has a task list that she works through to get that done. She just clicks on one task, calls, texts, then moves to the next. We have a lot of automated tasks, like as soon as a new lead is added, she gets that automatic task to call them at the same time that our voicemail drop and everything is going out.
Yeah, does your staff, do your team find it difficult to use this system for doing outbound calls and things like that? Or is it, what's the experience like?
No, I would say the only thing that ever affects it is like if they're working remotely and they don't have really good internet access.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, it seems to work really great. That's how we do almost all of our calling and texting with leads and clients.
So internet connectivity is an important thing. I agree with that, having been on bad internet for a while. Do you all use the reputation management at all, Kylie?
I haven't used it much lately, but we have done review requests through it some. Typically when we tell them that they're like that they've been confirmed, we say, congratulations, you've been confirmed, and kind of lead into a conversation asking for a review and then send that through there.
Oh, cool. That's good to know. Yeah, so I think one of the things I'd like to do, and with your help and probably others who use this on a frequent basis, is talk about, how have a call where we're talking about how we're using this and, bounce ideas, that kind of thing. So your feedback is very, very much appreciated.
Okay.
Kylie, I
For-
don't know to ask if you were the one that asked for that explanation for my benefit, but if you did, I appreciate it. She and I have been talking about it on our call, I think last week.
Yeah. So for the benefit of Steve and a few other folks that are new, we've got the start help guides thing here, which your wizard takes you through each of the screen items at whatever you're looking at. So it explains those. We have the help center, which explains in greater detail each of those items. You click on dashboard, it's a written form, sometimes with videos, explains all this stuff. So you have more than one way to see that. And then the monthly training button here takes you to the YouTube channel where these calls like today are recorded and stored. So you can always go back and rewatch those. With that, I am done with my, spiel. I am open to any other questions you may have. Anyone?
So I do have a question about the calendar.
Sure.
And this is something Lex just emailed me today. Apparently, like when they book an appointment, the confirmation screen doesn't tell them like the date and time of the appointment. And I was wondering if our confirmation screen, like, how you can do like the fields and some of the other stuff, can that
Yeah.
go in the confirmation screen too?
That's a good question that I don't know I can answer right off the top of my head. So technically, so when you go into settings and calendars and you set these things up, you've got the confirmation section here. You can put in any field variable you can think of. So if it was a custom form, when they set the appointment, the challenge right now is like, it doesn't tell you what those fields are. So you'd have to pull it out a different way, which I could show you, but you could put that in the additional notes. We could also create a custom message that sent that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the issue is like we have the custom fields under additional notes that goes to the client, but Lex wants to see it on the screen they see when they book an appointment.
Yeah, on the confirmation screen.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can do that, but I will find out. I will play with it a little bit and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Found that we're getting like 12 emails per booking on our thing. Is that probably something in our setting campaign that we need to change, or does it appear to be that way?
I'm having a tough time hearing you a little bit. Can you repeat it again? You have kind of some feedback or something.
Let me try to get a little closer to my mic and see. We have noticed that we're getting like 8 to 10, maybe 12 emails for the same appointment, like back to back to back to back to back to back. Do you think that's in our settings, or do you think that's something with our calendars? I don't know.
It's probably in your settings so here's the challenge with the calendaring stuff, right? So you have Outlook or you have Google Calendar, and depending upon how that's set up in of itself, it will send its own notifications and reminders through your calendaring system. On top of that, we have Cogent, which is an overlay. So when they book the appointment, it will send a certain number of reminders based on the settings. I'd have to look at your account specifically. So if you want to send me like a screenshot or whatever you're talking about, I can look at it. But fundamentally, when you go into automation, all of your reminder settings are either in workflows or campaigns, depending on how long you've been with us. So you might have an appointment reminder campaign, which is triggered in the triggers when someone sets the appointment. So you could just look at the appointment reminder campaign and see what the frequency is. So for example, we're waiting 0 minutes, 1 minute, then 2 days before the appointment, and then 4 hours before the appointment, these messages are going out. We'd have to look at how you have it set up or how it is set up and or if there is an overlap with what you're doing on your software, which would be Google or or Outlook. But if you
Okay.
send me an
We-
email with a screenshot, go ahead.
If you use Google, I'll try looking at having tonight. Tonight is on the call too. She's at her office. She does all that kind of fun stuff for us. So
Okay.
we'll try problem solving it in the next day or two and see if it's in Google or if it's in Cogent. We weren't sure where we needed to look. But
Yeah, so if you
now
go
can
into
see that.
if you go into automation campaigns, you can look at the appointment reminders. I think you guys have been around long enough that it's probably in here, not in workflows. And then the triggers tell the software to do something, right? So you like, for example, this is the no-show one. If I hit edit here, you'll say appointment status is no-show, then add them to the campaign no-show, right? So the trigger is what tells it to send the stuff. The campaign is what it sends. You may have an overlap where it's sending stuff out of the calendar inside of Outlook or Google and sending stuff from within this system as well. So you might have a kind of a double whammy thing happening there.
Okay, thanks for checking it out. That's helpful.
Okay, you're welcome. Other questions or concerns? I will tell you that in the marketing side, a lot of you know this, we have the social planner, so you can do social posting and whatnot. We did recently add the ability to post videos. Previously, you could not post videos to these accounts with inside the social planner. You can now post videos from inside here. We will be adding other social platforms, but right now we have the big four, as you can see. So you can post things in there. I had a question recently from Mike O'Brien about trigger links. So since I'm on the screen, trigger links are basically links you can put into an email or a text. And if someone clicks on it, we can record that information and take action based on that link click. So for example, if you wanted somebody to fill out an intake form and you send them an email, if they don't click the link, we can have our system say, hey, I noticed you didn't fill this out yet. How about you do that, right? If they do click the link, you can say, thank you for clicking on the link. Hopefully you filled the form out. Your next step is XYZ. So let's go to links here and I'll show you. So I can add a link. So I can do AOL.com. Please complete this form. And what that allows me to do is that is now trackable in the system. So if someone clicks the please complete this form link, I'll know that they clicked on it. It'll be marked in the contact activities over here on this right side of the screen inside the contact. So if I went to, I don't know if I can do this from here. Let's see. Send an email, trigger links. There, so I can add a trigger link right there. If they click that link in the email I send, it's going to show up in the activity screen, and then I can branch out and do different automated things. The place I feel like that's of value is when you are collecting documents. If you're estate planning and you're like, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this. If you're in bankruptcy, I need this, I need this, I need this. And they're clicking a link to go fill out a form or submit a document. You can see if they've done that in the system. Now, is it 100% accurate? No. Like there's people will click the link and sometimes it won't record, but about 90% of the time it'll record it correctly. And so you can make decisions based on whether they click the link or not, and then tell the system to react differently based on that. Very, very useful tool if you're sending out a lot of document requests, form fill requests, things like that. Next question, if any. I've got a snoring dog next to me. Hey.
I do have one that I remembered. So you and I had talked about removing people from removing users. And you'd sent me some information about that and to get them off of the calendar and all of that, because we have this huge list when you drop down the calendar menu of like employees that don't work for us anymore. What about people that so like you're on that list because you're a user on our system, which is absolutely fine. But you show up in the calendar list when we go to the calendar, like to see your calendar. And I'm just trying to remove any possibility for anybody to schedule something on the wrong place.
Yeah. So you have users, which is going to show their individual calendar, what you're
Mhm.
talking about, teams, and then calendars. And these typically for a law firm, you're going to use the calendar section, and those calendars are going to be built based on the types of appointments you want to set. Yeah, if you have dead users like myself, you can remove me. It's fine.
But how do I do, like, I don't necessarily want to remove you as a user. I just don't want you to show up in the calendar list.
You can remove me as a user. It's fine. But so the challenge here is that, yes, if there's a user in the system, they will show up in the calendar list.
Okay.
But here's the other thing is if you go to like opportunities and I do new, and I click an appointment, it's going to only show, you'll notice it only shows when I'm doing opportunities, it only shows the actual calendars, not the people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's different than if you're in the actual calendar screen, it shows everything. Like you can pick
Right.
it all, but you'll notice in the opportunities, I only see these things here. So in the opportunity screen, which is ideally where you're booking appointments because you're talking to someone, changes to PCLC, you're talking to someone. And let's talk to.
Sure. And yeah, what I've taught my staff to do is to do it from a calendar page. So this is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a way to like limit their choices by taking them to the opportunity screen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do the calendar. So what's one of the benefits of the calendar screen is I can literally just go up here and book appointment,
Right.
type the person's name in, and then I can pick the calendar
Yeah, that's how I've got him
Right.
doing it.
like that. The only thing that's confusing is when you click the My Calendar drop down, it shows you everybody's stuff.
Right.
But if you go to book appointment, it's typically just going to show you those main calendars right there.
So if we do it from opportunities, what does that look like?
Same concept. It just shows you the actual calendar. So if I go over here and I click on this opportunity, I click book appointment, it's going to show only the calendars.
So if they don't exist yet, I can click new. Okay.
Yeah.
And create a new opportunity. So that's what we ought to be doing instead of, okay.
Yeah, that's so my belief on this process is that I get a phone call, right? And I don't know where it came from. Maybe it's a referral, maybe it's not. I click new. I put your information in here, right? I book your appointment. I add any tasks, all that stuff, and I just hit save or add right there.
Oh, okay. And so it does all it. Okay. Because it's kind of doing it through the calendar. It's kind of a two-step process because if it's a new person,
Right. You have to also add
create
them.
the contact and
Right.
then book the appointment. Okay.
So if it's not a new person, they'll show up in the drop-down menu in the opportunity. If it is a new person, like I don't have a Gilbert in here. So there's no Gilbert, right? And so I'll just be, when I add them, they'll become a new contact in the database and also have a new appointment. But if they exist, I can type Robert in here and I get all the Roberts that show up as well. So I can pick
Gotcha.
Robert Stanley. It fills all the data out, but I can still book the appointment and it's going to show, come on, baby. It's going to show those options there.
Perfect. Okay.
So I think that might clean it up for you a little bit.
Mhm. I like it. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, next. Stump the presenter.
Where's O'Brien when we need him?
Yeah, I know Brian's really good at stumping me, but he's not here today. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless you guys have other questions. Now, I just want to remind you that this is the group meeting. Anytime you want some one-on-one time with me to go through your specific issue, Joe, in your case, if you've got this notification problem, we can always schedule, a 30-minute or hour call where I'll walk you through your specific issue and I'll be just on your account instead of, bouncing around with these test accounts and things. So I'll walk you through your specific account, address your specific issue and fix that for you. So if this did not answer your question or is too vague, then just, shoot me an email and let's set up a one-on-one call or a group call with your team and address the issues that you have at hand. Sound good? Anybody else with problems, questions, challenges, requests?
We're gonna see everyone in San Diego.
Yeah, who's going to San Diego that's on the call? Trisha. Joe doesn't get to go to San Diego, bummer.
I'll be there.
Kylie will be there. I assume Matt's going to be there if you're there, unless you're going to make
Yeah.
him stay home.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
well, he'll be there with me.
Like, Matt, you got to stay home. Sorry, I'm going to go have fun. You can't. Perfect. So we'll see Kylie, Trisha. I don't know if anybody else is going to come, but anyway, appreciate your time. We'll do this again next month. And while we're at the event, if you have like specific stuff you want to dive into, Trisha or Kylie, you can always fire up the laptop and sit down together and work through things. Assuming we're not all hanging out at the beach instead of actually working, because it is San Diego. All right.
I'm
Thank
already
you.
at the beach. See?
What's that?
I'm already at the beach back there. See?
Yeah, I see your beach. Yeah.
Rob, I thought you might like to see my coworker. Oh, he was asleep a second ago.
Oh,
Oh, cutie.
Hey, bub.
wait.
That's
Your
the
ba-
one benefit of working from home. Hi.
Yeah, we actually bring our dogs to the office. So, but they're asleep on the floor. They sleep all day. I mean, dogs
Yeah.
sleep most of the time.
Wait, where's the baby?
Where's the baby? Let me show the baby. Yeah, you get to see our
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
Charlie Brown's wife.
I don't think I could take Rigger to the office. He would just, I think he would pee everywhere and bark the whole time.
No, these two are pretty
Yeah,
chill.
uncomfortable.
These two are trained to sleep all day.
Hi, little Munchkin. You're not so little anymore.
No, she's now almost 40 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta turn off the filter.
Just trying to.
Yeah.
So screen backwards.
Huh?
Found it.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
just stop my video. Oh, there we go. All right. There's the baby.
Hi, cutie. Oh, she's huge now. I was expecting her to still be tiny.
No, she's heavy. And the worst part is when she doesn't want to walk and you trying to like drag her with the leash, you're like pulling your arm off. All right, get down, big girl.
She gained 15 pounds in 3.5 weeks.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we,
That's gonna be confusing as the dog. Like, what is
Right.
happening?
right. So we, it was tough for us to find a babysitter. She's going to be staying at a cattle ranch while we're in San Diego.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So she's going to experience cows and things like that. So that'll be fun. This is a unimportant side note. We just bought a house in the country. And so we moved all of our chickens. We're on an acre property about a quarter mile from the river. And we'll probably send out some updates on our newsletter, but she has discovered the joy of chickens. So she likes to run up to the chicken run, the fence where they're outside, and scare the crap out. She runs up, like stops right in front of them. They go, ah, they all run away and fly and whatever. But now the chickens have become accustomed to her. And so when she doesn't run up, she walks up and kind of looks in there and they all run up to her like she's going to feed them or something. So
Oh, that's funny. Our friend is here.
yeah. So interesting. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you're in San Diego, we'll see you next week. If you're not, we'll see you on the next webinar. Appreciate your support and patience, and we'll talk soon. Oh, NB conference room. Now I can see people. You guys turn your camera on.
I know. We're here. We've been listening to you. We've learned a lot.
Good. So we will download this video, upload it to YouTube. Again, as I said before, if you need some one-on-one time, some individual support, shoot us an email. We'll do a call just like this, but just for your firm and for your challenges or issues, and work through those with you.
I had something I wanted to ask you, but it didn't really pertain to what you were kind of going over, so I didn't know if I should ask.
You should always ask. It always helps someone else. Go ahead.
When I'm in contacts and, I go to opportunities or I go back, when I'm flipping back and forth. Or let's say I've been in contact and I've looked at several different messages through the messaging, Cogent messaging, like the texting.
Yes.
And so anytime I'm in contact and I want to go back to like that main page where you're at right now, it always takes me completely out of Cogent.
Yeah, so maybe you're hitting the back arrow. So if I click on Robert Stanley here and I am talking to Robert in here, you'll notice a little blue arrow next to his name.
Okay, okay.
If you hit this little blue arrow, it just takes you right back to where you were before.
Awesome.
Yeah,
You're
so
right.
that, and I understand why it's confusing because most of us are used to hitting this arrow in the browser to go back. And so what you should be doing is hitting the, when I'm on the context, I hit Bob test divorce, you'll notice the blue arrow next to Bob. That'll take me right back to opportunities.
Perfect.
Or if I'm in conversations, right? And I click on this person, I click on their name and I hit the back arrow, guess what? It takes me back to conversations. So
Oh
look
my
for the
gosh.
little blue arrow in the corner.
Thank you.
You're most,
Solved.
you're most welcome. Is that it? Do you have another curveball? You almost stumped me. You almost had me there.
Oh, that was too easy. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. So with that, we'll end it and then we'll see you in San Diego. And if not at San Diego, we'll see you on the next call in about a month.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time.
I,
Have a great weekend.
you
Talk
too.
soon.